So here we come to IGCSE Mathematics Paper 4, Specimen Paper 2020. So we come to question number 8. Part A is about how to solve the trigonometric function or equation. Actually, this graph is kind of useless for solving these equations. Okay, so how about we just solve it without considering this graph first. So first of all is cosine 3 cosine is equal to 1. So we make cosine x as the subject first. So like this, you move the 3 to the right hand side so that you got cosine x as the subject will be equal to 1 over 3. Then you can make use of the inverse function concept. So x actually can be the inverse of the cosine of 1 over 3. Then you can use the calculator to help you find the first value. The first value you got for x will be 17.5 degrees. Actually, it is 17.5287737 degrees. But because x is in between 0 degrees to 360 degrees, we need to find another angle that's besides the acute angle that we got here. So you need to think about the CAST, okay? So remember, C start from the quadrant 4, so start from here, CAST, like this. And then this is 0 degrees or 360 degrees. And then anti-clockwise, they increase by 90 degrees, 90, and then 180, and then 270, and then finally 360. So what does this mean again? So for this kind of thing, if theta is right between 0 to 90 degrees, that's quadrant 1, then all the sine, cosine, tangent, theta will be positive, or all will be positive, okay? And if the theta is in the range of 90 degree to 180 degree, that's quadrant 2, then only the sine theta will be positive, and then the cosine and tangent here will be negative. Okay, so that's it. And also for tangent, if the theta is between 180 and to 270, then the tangent theta will be positive and the sine and cosine will be negative. So when the C is in quadrant 4, that's the theta between 270 and 360, then the cosine theta will be positive and then sine cosine will be negative. So here, this time, cosine is positive 1 over 3. Okay, so the cosine theta or cosine x is 1 over 3. Then the x must be in quadrant 1 or quadrant 4 because cosine is positive. So I'm supposed either this one or this one. Alright, so for the quadrant 1, we got the answer is 70.5. So how about the quadrant 4? For the quadrant 4, we need to think about using the 360 to get the quadrant 4. Alright, so when it is on the quadrant 4, the theta should be 360 minus the thing we already got here. I will use this long figure. Okay, minus this. Okay. Then we will get the theta in the quadrant 4. So x can also be actually it is like this figure if you use your calculator. So because we need to have one decimal place, so it should be 289.5 degrees. So remember, you need to track the figure. So this time the answer should be this 70.5 and then 289.5 degrees. Before I talk about the question part B, let's think about how to use this graph to solve this equation. Actually, you can do something like this, but this time it will be not that accurate. So because cosine x, this graph is a y equals to cosine x, right? So you can just draw a line for the y equals to 1 over 3 and then find the intersecting point, and then you can get the answer also. So like this, if you can really find a horizontal line for the y equals to 1/3, you can find these two intersecting points, and then if you find this and then you think about the x coordinate of these two points, actually they will be the answer. Right? But you can see this time you can't really read it in the graph, so we can't do it with the graphical method this time. So now we come to the part B, how to draw the graph for the y equal to sine x. So of course, if you just memorize all the thing, alright, for the sine y equal to sine x, the graph must be something like this. Alright, start from 0, 0, the origin, and then like this, like DNA shape. Okay, so and you know that start from a 0 degrees and then end at a 360 degrees. This is x, and then the middle point must be the half of it, so it will be 180, and then here again the middle point of 0 and 180, so it must be 90 degree, and then for the lower, the minimum point will be at 270 degrees, right? So you can just memorize this. And for the y value, the maximum value for y must be 1, positive 1, and then the minimum value for y must be negative 1. So if you can just memorize it, you can just draw it like this. But if you are some shock in the examination and you just forgot everything, then you can try to do it this way, because y is equal to sine x, right? So you just substitute something and then you get how about x, y here? When x is equal to 0, you just use your calculator. Sine 0 is 0, right? And then you substitute how about the 90 degree, right? When x is 90 degree, and then the sine 90 will be 1. You can just use your calculator to do it, and then so you can have this kind of point. Alright, so similarly you got this, and then you will get 0 again, and then 270 you will get negative 1, and then 360 you will get 0 again. So you will have these 5 points, at least these 5 points. Oh, sorry. It should be the negative 1. These 5 points, and then what you need to do, you need to just draw some mountains. Alright, so try to make it smooth. Alright, although this time we don't use it for the graphical method. Try to do it like something like this. Alright, so the blue line is the y equal to sine x. And one more thing, very interesting. I think it's interesting. You can see the intersecting point of the black curve, that's the y equal to cosine x, and the blue curve, the y equal to sine x. They intersect and at 2 points, these two, right? Actually, this point will be, you can imagine, because it's just in the middle of 0 and 90 degrees. So this point must be at 45 degrees. And similarly, you got this point, the other intersecting point. This one is 225 degrees. Alright, so you can think about this, they intersect this. So at 45 degrees, sine theta is equal to cosine theta. You can check this. Alright, okay, so that's some funny thing. So the end.